We are here with Dee and Scott Starnes, who are some of the biggest names on the archery circuit right now. We're very honored to have them.
Thanks for having us.
You started archery in 1985 as a way to extend the hunting season.
Yeah.
The gun season only goes so far.
It's 2 weeks.
So how did it come about that you even got the idea to just go ahead and try with a bow?
Actually, my dad brought it up. He used to shoot archery back when he was in high school. So looking at how to extend the hunting season, you know, he brought the idea up. So I'm like, well, cool, let's go for it. Now we can hunt for 3 months. So I got me a bow and he got a bow.
And what was the very first kind of bow you ever got?
The first bow I got, I still have it hanging in my garage.
Oh.
It was the original Bear Whitetail with the wooden laminated limbs. I've still got it sitting at home.
You better keep that. That's
Yeah.
good.
I gave $80 for it brand new. I hunted with it the first season I had it, and I was shooting instinctive, no sights.
When did you start getting all the gadgets on your bow?
Early 90s, 92, 93 maybe. We finally went to a shop. We had a local high country dealer. So me and my dad went down there and we bought compounds, put sights on them and shot the release and everything. You know, your groups went from like this with no sights down to like this. And you're like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Then you started shooting 3D.
We did. The local shop that we got our high countries from, they set out 3D targets. So, you know, they invited us to come out and shoot some 3D. So we shot some local stuff for several years. With the indoor stuff that we're doing and the field archery stuff that we shoot in the summertime, it's hard to set aside more time off work to try to shoot the ASA or the IBO. But it's just hard, you know, working a full-time job to dedicate more time to another aspect of shooting.
So you shoot NFAA field then, not feed a field.
I've never shot feet of field, but there is a pretty good sized regional shoot up by Chicago that we might go shoot it this summer on feet of field. You're looking at me like, what?
I'm all for it. He basically just says, you want to do this, and I'm the first one in the car, let's go.
I'll tell you what drove me into shooting indoors, and a lot of people know this, a lot of people don't. But I was a huge volleyball player. That was what I did, and I shot archery when I wasn't doing that. We was at a tournament on a Saturday morning, and I'm like, let me hit one more. So I throw the ball to the ground, she sets it up, I jump up, spike it, and blow my knee out. Laying on the ground in excruciating pain, and they're like, can we get a knee brace and you can go? And I'm like, no, I'm done. You know, it's highly recommended I go see Dr. Shelburne in Indianapolis. He was a Colts doctor at the time. I go up and see him. And he wanted to get strength, mobility, and the swelling gone before he did surgery. So he goes, we're going to do surgery in 2 to 3 months. Your life as you know it is going to be on flat ground. So what can I do that's on flat ground but go to the archery range? And my improvement was just so great because I spent so much time at it. And I'm thinking, this is what I want to do.
We actually met through Match.com.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Oh my God, that's great. Oh my God.
We met in,
I found her and sent her a message.
we met in February 2006.
And we live about 120 minutes apart.
Yeah.
They're 2 towns, so there's a little bit of distance involved.
So
Not
we
too
actually
much.
started talking on the computer first. And then in February, we set up a meeting to go and have dinner and a movie. And we just hit it off. From day one, we just hit it off. We had so much in common. We did the long distance relationship for a while. And then we talked about me moving in with him. And I said, well, you know, I need to find a job. So I would go over to Crawfordsville on a week's vacation and put in a bunch of resumes, and a dentist over there in Crawfordsville had gotten a hold of me, hired me, and it turned out it was his dentist.
Oh my gosh.
And I had no idea until I called him and told him the dentist I was working for. And then I moved over to Crawfordsville and moved in with Scott. Then in 2007, we got married, and we just been inseparable since. I mean, we just love doing
And
everything
we ran
together.
off to Gatlinburg and got married and didn't tell anybody we was going.
Yeah, we had some
Way
parents
to
that,
go.
that weren't too pleased with that.
Yeah. My mom and dad wanted to know, I told them, hey, we're going out of town, can you keep my son over the weekend? And I said, we're going out of town. They're like, where are you going? I said, we're going to Wisconsin. They're like, all right, that's cool. So we take off, we go to Gatlinburg, and we get married out on this big deck overlooking the big mountains there, and it was just a really nice scenery, and the sun was shining. And so I sent my dad an email of a picture of the mountains, and I said, Wisconsin sure looks funny this time of year. When we got engaged, got posted on Archery Talk.
Yeah.
Because there's a guy who used to be on Archery Talk a long time ago, one bow tie, his name was Mike Hindmarsh. And he was a pot stirrer, and if you knew Mike,
Well, I know Archery Talk, so.
he's just in there all the time. So we got engaged, and we're like, how can we tell the folks? And I'm like, I'll just tell Mike Hindmarsh, he'll grab it.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I send Mike a private message, and he gets up on Archery Talk and puts this big message on there. And my dad sees it.
Oh my God.
So it worked out perfect.
It worked out
did.
perfectly.
It did.
So do you have kids?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a son that'll be 14 April 11th. He's in the 8th grade, and he's just huge.
Yeah.
Then I have a daughter that's 30. Well, I'm sorry, she'll be 30 in April.
She's gonna be mad now.
I had her at a very young age.
Yes.
She was in her low 20s when she had her boys. So she's got Camden, who is 6, and Caden, who is 4.
Oh.
And we just love them to death. And
We got them bows for Christmas,
yeah,
so they're shooting with us now.
when Scott met me, I was a big time bowler. And my dad and mom bowled in leagues when I was a little bitty girl.
Uh-huh.
And I can remember going up to my dad and asking for money so I can go down to the other end of the bowling alley, ran a lane, and just bowl until they got done. Then I joined a league, and then when Scott come in, he used to come to the bowling alley and watch me when he'd come to Kokomo and visit. And I just loved it, and still love it to this day. And I'd carry about a 196 average, so I
Pretty good at it.
did
Wow.
quite well at it. One time, Scott had asked me if I wanted to go watch him at a state tournament. Didn't know anything about archery. I just thought it was just something that people do when they go hunting. So went to the state tournament, watched him, and he got done shooting, and he comes up to me, and he says, would you mind getting me something to drink? I'm sure, that's fine. Well, I had no idea it was over, and I had no idea that he had won.
Oh, God.
I was just clueless.
Yeah.
And then he finally told me he had won the tournament. After the tournament, he says, is this something you think you might want to try? I'm like, well, yeah, it looks fun. And so he got me a bow and told me the basics on what to do, and I've just been hooked since.
Yep.
It's just something that just gives me that drive to keep going.
So you were a really good bowler, but then in archery you went from starting in 2006 to pro in 2010. That's amazingly fast.
Mhm.
What kind of a path did you follow to get from 0 to 60 that fast?
Basically a lot of practice. I shot in the amateur class. Well, I did 1 year bow hunting first, and that was enjoyable, but I didn't like the fact you couldn't move your sight once the scoring started. So I moved up to the amateur freestyle and shot with a lot of great girls, learned a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and then we shot a sectional for our state, and I won that tournament. And at that time, they were given a free pass to the pro class.
Oh.
But my biggest thing was at that time, I told him, I said, I'm not ready. My scores aren't good enough. I'm just not ready. And he told me, if you think you're not ready, you're never gonna move up. you know, so you might as well just jump in
Yeah.
and try it.
Yeah, if a person, you know, I tell people that a lot, how do you know when you're ready to shoot in a pro class? And if you wait till you think you're ready, you'll never make that move.
Mhm.
Because it's overwhelming to know that you're gonna go in there and shoot at these tournaments with the best archers in the world. It was a last minute decision. Darren Christianberry and Billy Myers twisted my arm, basically. We was getting ready to go to the Iowa Pro-Am, and they're like, dude, you're crazy to go out there and shoot for a trophy. You know, pay the extra $100 and shoot for some cash. And I went out there and brought some cash home, and I was hooked.
I told him, I said, well, I'll try it and see if I like it, and I loved it. I mean, the girls are great there. They've been very, very helpful.
Mhm.
You know, I can ask them anything, and they're more than eager to help me, you know. It made me even better shooting with those girls.
Yes.
Because you gotta shoot up to the competition.
Exactly.
Definitely will
Yep.
make a person a better shot.
Yep. What does it mean to go pro?
I mean, you know, it's kind of watered down, I guess, as far as archery goes. To go pro in archery, you pay your $75 a year for your
Uh-huh.
pro card. You get this little piece of paper that says, hey, I'm a pro.
Mhm.
And you pay about $150 more to tournament.
Mhm.
The majority of the people that I shoot with still keep a day job. There's a
Mhm.
few that don't.
Mhm.
But the money that we're shooting for is just not, doesn't pay deep enough to allow more people to do that.
So Dee, what is your day job when you're not shooting? What are you doing?
I am a CRR for AmeriGas Propane,
A CRR.
which is like a receptionist,
Oh, okay.
customer representative. It started getting difficult to get the time off to come to tournaments.
Yeah.
And so I told Scott, you know, I just can't give up the archery. I just can't do it. And so I said, I'm gonna start job hunting. When I talked with my boss now at AmeriGas, went to my interview, and I was just upfront and honest with her. And I said, you know, this is what we do, and we've got sponsorships that, you know, we need to be at these shoots. And she was very, very understanding about it. And so it's nothing to ask her, you know, if I need a little extra time, you know, are you okay with it? And she's fine with it.
Yeah. So Scott, what's your day job?
I have been at my day job for 27 years.
Wow.
I work at a facility that, it used to be strictly for the loose leaf industry, making 3-ring binders
Oh.
and stuff like that. I'm in the printing side of it. We do license plates for car dealerships. And have you ever seen a dog that had surgery? He's got this lampshade looking thing on his head.
I do. I know those things very
We do
well.
about 70,000 of those a month.
Elizabethan collars, and you make 70,000 a month with those.
Her family's still in Kokomo,
Mm-hmm.
where she came from when we met. My mom and dad's been in Crawfordsville their whole life. We live at a private lake. It's a homeowners association.
Oh, nice.
Mom and dad live right on the water. We don't, but that's where my boat sits all summer, right out their back door. And then my brother, he lives at the lake also, and it's about 3/10 of a mile from my driveway to his. So my family's all kind of right there together.
Yeah.
All of mine's in Kokomo, and then my daughter and son-in-law and the 2 grandsons, they're in Greenwood, about 45 minutes from our house.
My mom and dad, I mean, they've been my biggest supporters from day one. My dad just gets so excited, you know, to follow us. He goes to the Indoor Nationals every year. He was down there where I won it.
And what do you guys like to do when you're not shooting, Dee?
A lot of things. First and foremost is motorcycle riding. Yeah, we bought us a Harley last year.
All right.
And we like to go on a lot of the organized rides.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is for, you know, kids in need. There was one ride that we went on that they were taking donations for kids with brain tumors. And they had some of the kids there, and they got to go riding too. And the look on their faces and the smile was just so neat. And then the other big thing that we like to do is go to World of Outlaw races.
Yeah.
Outlaw races.
Yeah.
What is that?
Winged sprint cars on dirt.
Wow.
It's
The wings keep them from flipping over.
And not always.
Not always.
They can still
No.
fly with them wings.
We went and shot the NFAA Outdoor Nationals when it was in Harrisburg, and Board of Outlaws were racing. Actually, our hotel was closer to the track than it was the shooting place.
Great.
So we're like, hey, we're going racing one night, you know? So we got done shooting. So anyway, we're going into Harrisburg, and there sits two of Tony Stewart's. He's got 2 teams in the Outlaws,
Oh my.
and they're sitting there, and they're out there polishing on them. So we like make this big U-turn and go back.
Like 2 little groupies,
And we
you know?
just get out and we go up there, and this one guy on the crew, his name's Bob Curtis, we become real good friends with him. There's another guy standing there on the phone, and he comes over and he sees that we got archery stuff on our shirt. So he's interested in our shirts, what we're doing, and we're interested in what he's doing. And his phone rings, and he steps away, and I told Dee, I said, I think that's Donnie Shaw's, which he's won the Outlaws 5 out of the last 7 years. She goes, no, it ain't. I said, I'm pretty sure it is. So he comes back over and she asks him, so you Donnie Shaw? She goes, yeah, I am. So we hit it off with him. So now we go to the track. It's not just to go watch the races, it's to go visit with our friends. We go down in the pits before, before they get busy, before they get in their driver's uniform. We'll visit with the guys. And then we'll just kind of disappear and let them do their thing.
So any of those guys shooting now?
Donnie, he hunts.
Okay.
He does a lot of hunting. I mean, with his schedule, running 90 to 100 nights a year,
Yeah,
don't leave much time for much else.
that's true.
So,
Then we became friends with Craig Kinzer, who also races.
Craig Kinzer, his dad Steve Kinzer, has won the Outlaw Championship like 20 years. So we become friends with them, and they're from Bloomington, Indiana, which is an hour and 20 minutes south of us. So we always talk to Craig when we're at the track, and it's just kind of neat,
But I tell you what, they are just a great group of guys.
It
Great
sounds
group of
like
guys.
If you
it.
ever get a chance to see the World of Outlaw sprint cars, I would highly recommend it.
It gives you a rush.
Wow.
It's awesome. And then the other thing we had in common too was NASCAR.
Yeah,
I
we
was
both
a
like NASCAR.
big time Jeff Gordon fan and still am.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met him, found out he's a big
Yeah.
Jeff Gordon fan. I thought, well, this is just awesome, Everything we like together.
Well, match
Um,
really worked out for
yeah.
you guys.
Yeah. But I tell you what, this guy could catch a fish out of a toilet bowl. I kid you not. I could be fishing the same spot that he's fishing and not get a single bite, and he's already had 10. And I'm like, isn't there something that you're not good at? The only thing I know he's not real good at is bowling, and he won't go with me sometimes.
Oh, come on now, you
I
gotta,
can beat
you
you on
gotta.
the Wii, though.
you-
The Wii bowling, I'm pretty good at that one.
Yeah.
Do you like the same kind of movies?
Comedies.
Comedies. My all-time favorite, which I don't think he gets
No.
into,
No.
is Dirty Dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I could watch that movie 10,000 times and it never gets old.
I'm with you on that. And Mark's over there.
I don't know how many times I've been made to sit through that one.
So what kind of movies do you like to watch, Bus?
I've always,
Said comedies, do you have a favorite?
I've
Oh,
always liked Jim Carrey. She can't stand him, but
I mean, he's good, don't get me wrong, but the noises he makes,
Ace Ventura movies.
his
Yeah.
facial
I mean-
expressions are just like, seriously, dude?
Do you guys have a favorite TV show?
Cops.
Cops. That,
Is it
yeah.
what
Love
you
it
gonna
when
do?
they're in Vegas.
And we got a little story on that.
Okay, please.
When we were out in Vegas one year,
We were still at the Riviera.
yeah, we were still
Yeah.
at the Riviera for the shoot, and we went to the Hilton. Yeah, and we come out and we couldn't figure out how to get
We
out.
cut through this parking lot trying to get back. Well, we get to the end of the parking lot and there's a fence.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, let's climb it.
Oh, great.
So we jump up on the fence and climb over it, take off. About 2 weeks later, we're watching Cops, and they're in that parking lot.
They're in that parking lot, and they're chasing this guy that tried to steal a car,
Yeah.
and the guy jumped over the same fence that we climbed. And we're like, oh, we did that too.
Music. Do y'all have any favorite music types or artists or
Big
anything?
Brian.
Luke Bryan.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about you?
I listen to country music. I mean, Luke Bryan is a very good singer.
Mm-hmm.
Do I find him attractive like she does? No, I don't. We have a Labradoodle that's very well known through the archery world because he's on Facebook all the time.
His name's Hershey.
Oh,
He's a chocolate
He must be a
lab.
chocolate lab.
Yes, he is. Chocolate Labradoodle.
Has he ever had to wear one of those e-collars that you,
No, we did put a bicycle helmet on him the other day.
did you now?
He's
Well,
like-
this was back when it was storming, thunderstorming.
Picture of him on Facebook.
And,
We went tornado warned.
yeah,
There was one in the vicinity of our town. They said, seek shelter, put on a helmet, blah, blah, blah.
if you don't have a basement, you know,
So-
if you got a helmet, it's good to put it on.
So I went out in the garage, got a helmet, we put it on Hershey.
I'm talking. What do you think needs to happen to grow the sport, to make it more mainstream?
The sport's growing with leaps and bounds. I mean, if you look at the numbers at the tournaments that we've been to this year, I mean, they're all posting record numbers. And why is that? Well, a lot of it leads back to the success we had at the summer games,
2012.
the movies,
Right,
Hunger Games, Brave.
right.
So there's a lot of growth in the sport as far as numbers. Archery is only so big, and the manufacturers right now are pushed to the limits on what they can do. I mean, if you look at all other major sporting events, whether it be auto racing, golf, or whatever, they all have sponsorship dollars that are outside of that industry. And I don't think, and I think everybody's in agreement that we probably won't get a share of that until we get something that's exciting and marketable for television. Hats off to Bo Junkie. Obviously,
Amen to that.
obviously they are bringing it to the masses.
Yep.
Hats off to Rob at Lancaster.
Mm-hmm.
The live feed that they have during that whole weekend is just phenomenal.
Right.
That's was so great about what Rob does there at Lancaster. I mean, when they zeroed in on a certain archer, they had a camera on the target and they showed it down on the split
Yep.
screen, and then one on the archer himself.
Mhm.
And it sounds like they're doing it right, getting the crowd into it.
Into it.
At Lancaster, they keep the music playing. They keep
Yeah.
it down,
Yep.
but it's playing, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather shoot with music.
I would rather
Right.
have the background noise. Do I think it will? You know, I don't know. You know, a lot of the people the powers that be are staying in that old school kind of thing, and they're totally against bringing compounds in it.
Well, if it does come, are y'all gonna go for it?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we'd try it. I mean, it'd be fun to go do. It'd be quite an honor, obviously, to shoot in the Olympics for the U.S.
So sweet to come and do this, and it's been a delight to get to know you
We
better.
appreciate you having us
Yeah,
up here.
appreciate it a lot.
We love your program that you guys have out,
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
you know, and
Thank you. We worked very hard on it.
Everything about us,
Just
we just,
synced.
yeah.